I think today unquestionably qualifies as a good day in my book. I've got an empty racetrack all to myself, the Madras Motor Racetrack in fact. And I've got the new 992 generation Porsche 911. And I'm sorry, but a Porsche on a racetrack, that's my idea of heaven. If you like this sort of video, do give it a like, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to turn your notifications on. And tell us in the comments what you think of the new Porsche 911. This new 911, of course, it picks up from where the last one left off. It's very closely related to the old 991. But of course, it's an evolution rather than a revolution, as is always the case with the Porsche 911. Yes, this 8th generation model has grown by 21, 44 and 7 millimeters in length, width and height respectively. And while there's a lot more aluminium in its construction, it's still 50 kgs heavier, thanks to added crash protection, a new PDK gearbox with one more gear, more tech in the cabin and, oh yes, modifications to the engine. There are some new bits to help lower emissions, but more importantly, there are bigger turbos. This is the Carrera S, the 2S, so it's rear-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. And power from the 3-litre turbocharged flat-six engine is now up to 450 horsepower. Combine that with 530 Nm of torque available from just 2300 RPM, and this rear-wheel drive car rockets to 100 kph from a standstill in just 3.5 seconds. That used to be supercar territory not long ago. You could put that down to the new, wider tires or the fact that the turbos spool up with almost no lag, but it's also down to the new 8-speed PDK dual-clutch auto. This gearbox is still as instantaneous with its shifts as the old 7-speeder, and in Sport Plus mode, it will hold each gear until the red line if you keep your foot pinned. And then... one of the things I absolutely love about this engine is that, unlike Porsche's flat 4 turbo engine in the Boxster and the Cayman, this one still sounds good even though it's downsized and turbocharged. I mean, take a listen to this. Let's get on the start-finish straight, knock it up into Sport Plus. Oh my word! Okay, there's a little bit of cheating in the form of the speakers enhancing that classic flat 6 tune in the cabin. But do you care? I sure don't. I love this track, I really do. Now pretty much every Porsche is a treat to drive, but there's something intrinsically special about the 911. It is their icon, the car that really represents Porsche, and of course that means they put the maximum amount of effort into this car, even this humble Carrera S version. It does also have a lot to do with the fact that the engine's in the back, not in the middle, in the back, and so that's a very, very unique driving characteristic. It influences so many things. The steering geometry, the fact that the front is so light, the fact that you can also now see over those iconic haunches, the headlights, the fenders, and that's just so perfect for a racetrack. It lets you place the car just exactly where you want it to. It also allows for such precise and such predictable steering. And yet with the engine all the way out the back, it just doesn't feel unbalanced or awry. It feels right. Oh, I love this thing. Wow. That steering could very well be the best electrically assisted unit on the market right now, at least in my books, with a weight and feel you'd swear was hydraulic. The driving position is just so right. It's set low as it should be, but even someone as short as me can find a good compromise and a great view forward. The position of the engine also influences that iconic 911 teardrop shape. That beautiful silhouette, it's evolved ever so slightly in recent years to allow for more cabin space and things like that. but it's instantly recognizable. The look of a 911 is never going to deviate much from the formula, is it? The front is pretty much as before, apart from the intakes which now have flaps that close when cooling is not needed to improve aero. Two-wheel drive 911s now get the same wider body as the four-wheel drive cars with wider tracks front and rear, which makes it look a bit more aggressive. I also like that the wheels are now 20 inches up front and 21 inches at the back as standard. The biggest visual change is at the rear though. The tail lamps are now joined by an LED light bar which sweeps around the rear and looks just superb lit up at night. I like the gloss black engine grille and the fact that the high mounted brake light is integrated into two of its slats. And how the two-stage retractable spoiler sits flush with the bodywork when it's not deployed. A detail I'm not so much a fan of are the new power door handles. They look cool, but they don't function consistently, and you can't always tell if the car is locked or unlocked. It's inside where things have really changed. You instantly notice a greater richness to everything you can see or touch, but it's the new dashboard that really bowls you over. It's a return to the horizontal look of the classic 911s, looking almost like a shelf onto which the infotainment and instruments are placed. The new 10.9-inch touchscreen looks crisp, and behind the steering wheel sits a clear analog tachometer, flanked by screens that show the remaining 4 dials. The center console's buttons are distilled down to just the essentials, and even the gear selector is now just a quirky little stub. The 911 remains pretty practical for a sports car. Yes, the tiny back seats return, and while you could squeeze some kids in there, it's more likely to be used as luggage space. In fact, the Carrera S could almost be your daily driver. I took it out on the road earlier and it even rides well, despite those massive wheels. But something must be wrong because I'm talking about practicality while I'm out on a racetrack in a 911. So, it's hard to even talk right now because I'm just so involved in driving this thing. That's all I want to do right now. It's all I want to focus on. The updates on this new 911 might not be as game-changing as some that debuted on previous versions, like electric steering or turbocharging or water cooling. It's not going to get the purists all worked up. What it does is gently usher in an added layer of tech and sophistication that makes it feel more modern and livable. This is still pretty much the base model, remember, and there will be many more versions to come, which, for the first time, might include a hybrid. But I'm not too worried. Porsche's got its own take on the electric car coming very soon, the Taycan. And I don't doubt that they'll do a fantastic job of it. They'll make it the best driving electric car you could possibly get your hands on. Perhaps. Let's wait and see. But I hope that they never stop making a car like this, that the 911 lives on like this. There might be electrified versions, but somewhere in the lineup there's just got to be a regular one, a comfortable one, a one that you could drive every day but still do this on the track with. Oh man! Yes! 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 Good car! Good car!